Welcome to the Improve and Have Fun podcast. My name is Paul V. Perez, and on this podcast, I work on improving myself while having fun along the way with the hopes of encouraging you to do the same. And I do so by documenting my life and interests. And on this episode, I'm interviewing my very first male Latino dancehall dancer that I've seen in my little circles that I run in, because besides myself, there are other Caucasian or light-skinned dancers, but in terms of a male Latino dancer, it's a rarity. Like, I just don't see it that much. Went to Blacka's birthday party last year in 2019. He's a very popular, famous dancer in our circles, in our dancehall New York City scene. And I had taken classes with Eric before, but now seeing him actually dance in parties where I really can feel that's where you can really gauge like someone's dancing skill, like as the songs come on, like what activates in your brain that makes you kind of bust out those moves. And he had such an expansive dance vocabulary, and I was like, dude, like, why don't you come to parties more often? Definitely. So I was able to interview him before this whole coronavirus thing, and this is our interview. Now, it's only going to go into the audio segment after I finish speaking here, but then I will pop back on and then wish you all goodbye. So let's go ahead and get into it.
First of all, my name is Eric Yael Solano Fuentes.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah. I usually use Fuentes. That's my maiden last name.
Yeah.
And, I usually use it more because I give more credit to my mom than my dad, because, she carried me for 9 months. Absolutely. And she's been there. I'm the only child. So every time I have the opportunity, I'd rather give the opportunity to be representing the Fuentes family side, because also we kind of like a dynasty.
Yes.
They originated from Guadalajara, Jalisco. Then they then moved to Mexico City, and now there is some part of the family in San Fernando Valley, California, and now we are here in the Bronx. So we're kind of like a big family. But when it comes to dancing, my mom and my dad met at a block dance party back in Mexico City. So, like I said, it's on my blood. It runs on my blood, and I grew up on it because, we were poor back then, and like all Latin families, African American families, Korean families, you don't have no babysitter. So my mom brought me to the block parties when I was like baby until 4 years old.
Wow.
So that's that. I grew up on that environment pretty much.
And so mom and dad, they loved to party when they were younger. From what I'm getting, I think a lot of Caribbean people do. You know what I'm saying? Have they ever taken classes, or were they ever interested in dance, or this is just something they just do it for fun?
It was mostly something that it was something that it was just doing it for fun. Yeah, no classes. It was everything. You watch and you learn. You go to the parties, like Caribbean parties. You watch what all the dancers do, and you catch up, and then you take it in your body, and then you make your own style out of it. So that's how.
That's cool.
How it did, yeah.
So, for you, when was it that you were interested in dance, that you wanted to take dance classes, or what is it? It's true that you were born into it, because like I said, they were partying when you were a bambino, or before you were born. But what was it for you that was I want to do this even more, or and I don't know. Like I said, I really don't know you very well, but I wanted to talk to you. It's just something that you want to do as a profession. And so 2 questions. When did you, or what is it that motivated you to actually start taking classes? And second is, do you want to do this as a profession?
Actually, I'm going to answer your second question first.
Please.
Yeah. It's not something that I see as a profession. I don't see myself as a professional dancer, but however, if I got the opportunity to become a professional dancer, I will take it. I will take any opportunity. One thing that I can say is that I'm also, I work backstage. I do lighting and video projection.
Oh, cool.
And
you went to school for that?
correct. I went to City Tech in downtown Brooklyn.
Love that.
Yeah, so I want to have my own production company that takes care of backstage and on stage. Have my own production company that provides you with not only lighting, video, sound equipment, but also dancers, DJs, MCs,
That's cool.
yeah,
I like that.
musicians. So it's like half and half. But if I have the opportunity as a professional dancer, I would take it. If not, just for fun.
Okay. Okay.
And to answer your first question, my life journey is quite interesting.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hear all about it. Absolutely.
Because, like I said, I was born in Mexico City, but when I was fourth, my parents decided to move to America to live the American dream.
Absolutely.
And then my great grandma, who recently passed away,
I'm sorry about that.
she's in a better place.
Absolutely.
She's with God.
Absolutely.
I'm that's the best part of everything. She decided that the best decision was my parents come, make money, and give me a better life. And when it come to me, I have to move to the south of Mexico to a state near of the Gulf of Mexico called Tabasco. And in there, I was raised up by my grandma for 11 years. Which interesting part is she used to teach back then dance classes
Wow.
in a place open to the public called La Casa de la Cultura, which translates to the house of the culture or the house for the culture. You pay a small fee, and for 1 year you will be able to take classes, piano, marimba, guitar, acting. And she had class called Bailes y Ritmos, which translates to dance and rhythms. And
What kind of music was that? Like
she will teach anything she feel like it: mambo, cumbia, swing, salsa, guaracha, rock and roll, anything that she feel like it, she will teach it. So when I moved with her, like of course, she took me with her because again, babysitting.
And your parents right now, they're in America.
And yeah, they were here in New York City.
Yeah.
Actually, they
trying to make a life.
correct. The first time I was there, I was in the back, all the way in the back of the studio, and it was the end of the year. It was the end of the year when it come to, doing the annual presentations, and they have like 4 to 5 pieces. So
These are people that your grandma trained like throughout the year, and then they like at the end of the year they put like a show together.
correct. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got it. So I see them dancing, and I just stood up and followed them. After a week and a half, I have like all the pieces that they learned for the entire year.
What age was this?
I was like 4.5, 5.
You're a little bambino.
Yeah, I was a little bambino, and next thing you know, I was performing with the kids/teenager group. I was the only male in the like 20 female group out of it. So, that's when, kept going. I'm like, I was learning through my grandma all these different styles. And at one point, I think I was like 12, she decided to put me as a choreographer. So
Because at this point, you've been dancing like for almost 8 years. If it was 4, now you're 12, right?
yeah.
Wow.
So she decided to like give me a chance to become a choreographer because her plan was for me to take her position. That was her plan originally. And I started teaching.
You like this? I mean, you enjoyed the dancing. Like you saw the older kids doing it. I was like, this is cool. I could do this.
Correct. I was like, yeah. I just saw everybody, dancing. I jump in and I start following, and I was so excited because fun fact is that I still remember the piece that we were learning, which was to Mambo Número 8 by Pérez Prado.
Okay.
Mambo number 8, and I still remember in my head, and I every time I hear that song, I just do the steps for a strange reason. The choreography from
Like
a long
a dance
time.
memory.
Hell, definitely, yeah. And something that and it's something that gives me joy. It's not. I don't do it just for popularity, or it's just the joy. It brings me peace. So once I saw all the kids, I'm like, I can do this, and I was happy in the back of the studio just be by myself. Yeah,
That's cool. That's cool. That's really cool. And you've continued to dance. Like, why? Like, okay, like sometimes this is the thing that you could do as a kid, but then as you get older, you're like, I don't want to do that anymore. But you've continued. Like, and why have you continued?
Like I told you, Paul, it's my passion. It's something that distracts me from my daily routines. We have a bad day, or like right now, this whole virus thing. I'm like, yeah, nothing's gonna stop me for me to enjoy myself. Because one thing that I like is it brings me peace, it brings me joy, but also at the same time, this is one of the main things a lot of my mentors, my teachers, and dancers will tell you about me. I have a lot of energy. A lot of energy. So I take advantage of that, and every time, like I perform or I do something in public, I like to entertain the public. Like, if you give me 3 minutes, in those 3 minutes, I want you to forget what's happening right now. You had a bad day, let me, give you a little bit of entertainment, relax, and then you will be more eased to go back to life. So that's the reason. I have multiple reasons to, I didn't stop. And until this day, even though I'm working more often and I'm traveling back and forth, I'm trying to take class, or I try to, do something that is dance related. Practice. I haven't gone to parties because I'm tired, but when I have a chance, I will go.
So you work and you take classes. Are you going to school now as well, or?
Oh no, I graduated back in 2017 with a bachelor's degree.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But I will go back for my master's. But I'd rather get the hands-on experience. That's the thing about my field. You gotta have hands-on, because there is different when you do lectures and everything is hypothetical when you actually.
And are you working in your field right now?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I'm working at it's around New Canaan.
Yeah.
It's between but it's in Connecticut. I'm working on the theater over there.
So you commute from the Bronx to Connecticut to the city. Like, this is like your commute here?
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
I know, that's a lot. I've been handling that quite okay, but
That's a lot.
yeah, it is what it is right now. I mean, I'm just 25.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would be more concerned if I would be more older. I would be like, no. But right now I'm younger, and I'd rather have like the experience and see what it takes me.
When you have, or if you have kids, like, do you want them to dance as well? I mean, you don't, like, of course, they're gonna do what they want to do, but would you like them to dance as well?
I mean, definitely. If they want to dance, just let them dance. I'm not gonna. That was one of the parts. I mean, it's not gonna sound like very dark, but very. It's a very. I had a very interesting experience when it came, living with my grandparents. My grandma, she teach and she supported me, but for some reason, my step-grandfather had this idea. Complex, it's a complex mentality. Until this day, I had a feeling it might be a little bit of homophobia, because for when I was like 4 years until 12, she always tell me, you gotta do man work. You gotta know how to do plumbing, and he forced me to do that. But then everything changed when I got my first girlfriend. He was like, you can keep doing your dancing. However, you gotta learn these things so you don't have to pay somebody else. At the moment, it didn't hit me on my head until like when I was here and I turned like 18 or 20, when I give it a deep talk, and I was like, kind of makes sense now that, in a certain way he was trying to hold me down for his own personal motives, and
There is a stigma. Like I didn't notice it so much because like I said, a lot of my dancing is just very social. So I never really was one to take classes. I took classes. I started taking classes a lot later in life. But like I've heard like from other folks, like there is a stigma of boys wanting to dance and like, oh, you're gay because you like to dance, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like that is a stigma, and it's a bad stigma. It really is.
Yeah, and also the other part that I can tell you is that I never had a lot of support from the community because
Back in Mexico.
back in Mexico where I was living with my grandma, because I had the opportunity, my parents sent me CDs, VHS of hip hop. I had access to satellite TV. I was able to see MTV1, MTV Jams. Yeah, Chris Brown, Missy Elliott, Sean Paul, and I had access to internet. However, not the rest of the people had that opportunity. So every time I brought hip hop or a little bit of dancehall, because back then I didn't know, but I was doing Willie Bonds, Thunderclap. Yeah, exactly. So I was doing some dancehall, and people looked down on me. A lot of people criticized me, and a lot of people make fun of me. Junior high schoolers, they went hard on me because I was kind of doing a different style. They were not used to it. I was ahead of them, ahead of their time. So these type of how you say experiences kind of like sank on me and made me realize, if I see that's why I see people, I support them. Like you tell me, if your children dance, would you support them? I'm like, definitely, because I had two different experiences that make me say like, no, I'm not gonna be like these other people were around me. You wanna dance, go for it. I will support you. You wanna take classes, take them. You wanna be a professional dancer, I'm not gonna say no, but let's talk about serious. Have plan A and plan B. You want to be a professional dancer, but also have a major, have a bachelor's major degree. Something to back you up, because, that's the only downside when it comes to performing arts. There is not much gigs that you can rely. You have to audition. You got to look for every opportunity. And then you got to pay bills, and it becomes stressful when you just, don't have a plan B.
Dude, you said so many great things there. Like you said, like you knew what it was like coming up and then being made fun of because you enjoyed dancing. So, like you see somebody younger than you, because that's going to happen. Like people are going to look at you and they're going to be like, this guy is amazing. I want to be like this guy and dancing and stuff like that. And then you could be like, yeah, go for it. You know what I mean? Because you knew what it was like to be ostracized, for people to like talk shit and like to, be down on you. And like, today you're so amazing. Like I said, your dance vocabulary is incredible, and that you would be supportive of somebody that wanted to come up. But I think what you said is something that because you actually, the circles that you travel in now, you do travel with professional dancers at times, and the sense of like you talk to them and stuff like that. And I think what you said is, I'm sorry about that air dryer thing in the background. We're talking near a bathroom. But you said something super key. I think people should have a plan B or have some kind of a trade job. And then, like I said, I can't speak from a professional dancer. I do not know what that life is like. I've only interviewed people that have that kind of life. But you should have a plan B. And then some people will say, no, you shouldn't have no plan B, just have plan A and just put everything into that. But, I mean, like you say, you do have to pay bills. You don't want to be homeless. And and I'm sure some people have been homeless, you know what I'm saying? But I think you said a lot of great points, definitely. If there is, and this can change, of course, if there is a music that you prefer, like what's your style of music right now in 2020 of March, that, of course this can change. Like right now, what kind of music do you like to dance to?
So currently at the moment, dancehall.
Why?
Why? Me and dancehall have a very interesting relationship, actually. Okay. No, because when I, like you have mentioned, I'm a versatile dancer. I have, I do hip hop, old school, mid school.
Afrobeat. I seen you do
Afrobeat, correct. I do crumping, popping, locking, salsa, bachata, cumbia. I could keep going with the list.
I love it.
Yeah, I could keep going and going and going. I'm not, for the listeners, I'm not bragging about it. It's just like, if you see my resume, it keeps going. Yeah.
You're just stating, bro.
Yeah. And I got introduced to dancehall in 2013 by Corey Genius.
Former podcast guest, absolutely.
Absolutely. You gotta go and listen when you have a chance.
Absolutely.
Please, because he provides a lot of vital information. But going back to dancehall, I always watch from outside. That's the thing about me. I get in my head, and it would take me a lot of time to try something new. So the first time I took class was in summer of 2013 with Corey Genius, and
BDC was in B.
yeah, it was in Broadway Dance Center, and I fell in love. Because when I was watching, I was curious about the steps. I was fascinated by the steps. But then when I went inside the room, took the class, and find out that there is actually a history, that there is actually a name for each step, a crew for each step, it was just like a whole different world. And then when I dancehall, it's just like fascinated because, my soul finds happiness. I find a balance compared to hip hop when, hip hop has become very commercial. We're losing history of hip hop, and that's sad for me because, I'm like, why are we not keeping these traditions, this culture like it should be? Because, I'm about the foundation. I'm about the history.
And now, what do you mean by that? Like that we're losing the history of hip hop or hip hop?
Because now you see everybody calls hip hop is what you see on Instagram, what you see on social media. There is nothing wrong with happening, but everybody claims to be a hip hop dancer. And when I look at it, the style is very commercial, very street style. I'm not hating it. It's just like if you're gonna say you're a hip hop dancer, at least show me Cabbage Patch, a Smurf, a Feli, these moves that goes back in the days. And everybody's doing the new stuff, which is nothing wrong. You can do it, but once in a while, make me a statement that if you call yourself a hip hop dancer, you are able to do old school hip hop.
Oh, break dances.
Yeah, or your history, like how everything started. Rocksteady crew and the turntables back in the Southeast Bronx. So the graffiti, the scratching. That's what I mean. But I'm not. It's gonna sound like I'm hating and I'm being hard on other people. But even in the dancehall community, they want you to, do you know your stuff? And if you don't, you look like, eh. They would look at you like, okay, next.
Yeah.
And that's tough. But there is some I'm not saying like we're losing it. It's just like there is not that many people supporting the hip hop culture. Not many people
From its roots.
From its roots, yeah. Like I can tell you, I know 2 hip hop legends here in New York City, and they have taught before, and not that many people go to their classes. And it's like the authentic, grimy,
in the
street style. Yeah, these guys grew up from.
Can you give us their names? I'm curious.
I know. One of them is David TikTok Nerville. He did videos with. He did a performance with JC. He's a great hip hop legend that I know here in New York City. He even told me the stories how were the streets back then. Even though he's a locking teacher at Broadway Dance Center, Specs Boogaloo, he also does old school hip hop. But one person that I can tell you will not find in a studio, but you will find that person in Carnival or Love is Love ciphers. His name is Poker, and that guy is a big name among the old heads of hip hop, and a lot of people yeah, and they look up to him. And when I met him, he's just like blows your mind. I seen some people, even kids that they don't know him, be like, yo, the dude is dope, and I'm like, do you know who he is? because they just like, he's mad dope, and I'm like, do you know who he is? And in the room, like 90% will not know who he is.
You got me curious, and I grew up with hip hop in the South Bronx. You know what I mean? And now you got me curious. So like, I've never been in much into the dancers but now you have me curious. Like, I'm gonna look these people up. Honestly.
Yeah. If you know Bam Bam, do you ever have heard of him?
No, probably not.
So then I will send you all the information about it.
Send me, because like I said, dancer wise, I'm not too keen when it comes to hip hop dancers. Like I said, I did grow up in the South Bronx. Went to street parties. It was dangerous. It wasn't safe. And like my older brother, Rock Gazelle's little afro, everything. Yeah, but continue.
Yeah, no, I know. I heard the stories too. I wasn't there, but I have heard the stories from these dancers, how tough it was. Like,
it was not safe.
No, I mean, they told me like back in the parties, like even the OGs, with they wouldn't care to get their Nikes and their sweatpants dirty. However, like when it was time for them to dance, they would take off their guns, hand it to somebody, go up to the dance floor, and then come out from the circle, and then put the gun back where they had it. Like, that's how. When I heard that, I was
these parties would be like my older brother. He was a DJ. He used to throw parties in basements. These are parties in basements. These are parties in like there were clubs, yeah, but these are parties like I said, in the neighborhood, in like a hall.
Yeah. In places that you never imagine. Yeah, I mean, when I heard that, I was like, yeah, it was hot back then.
Yeah, it wasn't safe. It wasn't safe.
So, I mean, like I said, I'm not throwing shade to nobody. I mean, any craft that you do, I will appreciate it. I will admire. But if we're talking about being authentic, you gotta, in a certain way, not prove, but be able to show what you know about the culture, about the dance, and be able to execute. Because I can tell you right now, and me, among other choreographers, even I wrote an essay in DH Evolution, how the difference between street versus commercial, studio versus street style, or freestyle versus choreography. Like, what is the difference between these two different areas? But why is because that's the thing. A lot of people are like, I want to just freestyle, and certain people, I just want to do choreography.
And that's okay.
And yeah, it's okay. Yeah. But however, if you are able to master both, you're good, because you don't. I have seen many dancers that they just know choreography. They're not able to freestyle that well.
I'll tell you, Eric. I think that's a. That's all right. I think that's one of the reasons. Like, I've more in the last decade, have gotten more into classes. Like, but I think parties is where I learn most of what I know, and I think parties are important because parties are application. Practice, yes, but then parties are application in the sense, especially with dancehall, where you're gonna get feedback immediately from your peers or from other people that are dancing. That's why I've always been big on parties. Practicing, yes. Class, yes. Practice, yes. And parties are a must, like, because you gotta know if you're doing something, like, you're amongst peers. Like I said, you're getting that feedback. You gotta know if you're doing something that's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Oh no, definitely. I'm not discarding parties.
Oh, no,
yeah. No, I mean, parties is the place where you learn most and where you get challenged.
And you could end up getting in battles, which happens at parties too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm being in a few of them. Even if I didn't want it to.
No, if people are challenging you, that means that they find you as a threat, which is a compliment. It's a total compliment. I'm serious. If they feel like so intimidated by the way that you're dancing, and they're having to come in to battle you or stuff like that, you're giving them some, like, a little bit like, oh shit.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I think, and I mean, I don't take it wrong, but I be like, yeah, I've been in battles even if I didn't want it to, so yeah. I know exactly what goes down on the parties. I mean, like you said, yeah, that's where you actually learn most, and I mean, a lot of dancehall dancers and professors, choreographers have said that there are not many parties here in New York City like it used to be. because
They actually are, but in terms of dancer parties, there's not a lot of those. But no, there's parties right now. Dude, I was in Jamaica in early February, and we have more parties going on later than they do in Jamaica right now because of the whole they have a whole thing where they're closing the parties down early most days of the week, not during the weekends, but most days of the week. So right now we have more parties and later parties than Jamaica itself does proper.
Oh, and I thought differently. I thought they had more parties.
That's only right now. But they party every single day of the week. But we have parties that go till 4 a.m. Their parties don't go to 4 a.m. right now. Not every single day of the week, which we do. But you have to really kind of go to the boonies to like deep in Queens or deep in the Bronx to find like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Sometimes in Williamsburg. But we do have a lot of parties right now that can change.
Yeah, and going back to the parties, and because I've been there, and you catch one or few steps. But if you look at the actual Jamaican parties, if you there, you're gonna definitely catch up a lot of information.
100%.
And that's the best part. Like, there are like 1,000 steps right now, and if you know,
there's always 1,000 steps. Dude. Always.
We cannot even stop talking about that because then you have your eras: back to basic, old school, mid school, new school, and then what some people call new school or advanced new school, which is like what's happening right now. And there is plenty of them. Like, the list can keep going, go on and on and on and on. But parties are like the ultimate challenge, the ultimatum, the challenge where it's gonna be exposed, if your knowledge is well round, because they you're not. And then also because you don't have they also sometimes they play what is it called the songs that they have, like they shout out the dance, like Crazy Hype or War them Up or Batman Forward, Batman Pull Up. You will have this what Blink taught to us, tutorial songs.
Bling Evo, another previous guest on this podcast, definitely. And you were one of the students on this podcast. He was talking about the DH Evolution course that he was running last year, or this year, or last year, but recently. And you were one of those students.
Correct.
Continue saying what you were saying.
It was just that because if you that's another thing that I have seen some dancers point out about tutorial songs. Like, should they play tutorial songs in dancehall battles? That's one of the biggest questions.
Dancehall battle, it's more like you're trying to freestyle and up the other person, because if who's doing the better Batman forward, and but if the person who's doing the better Batman forward, like he can't just do the same move. He has to like jump up on something and do something crazy, pick up a piece of furniture, take his shoes off. He has to do something that has him stand out from the other person, because you can't just you do a Batman forward, I do a Batman. No, it's not like that. Like you got to do something that adds a little, like some of the other dancers will say, extra sauce to it.
Yeah, no, and that was when we have our graduation from DH Evolution. That was one of the part of the challenges. Like, we have to play. I was in one of he divided into different teams, so I was in the Garvey team, and we were trying to compete to see, who was going to be number one in choreography groups. So at the end, we got tied, and he actually challenged us. He played, part of that, it was like one of each, one person representing each group will come and battle, and then he played actually Batman Forward, Batman Pull Up. And like you say, you got to put extra sauce to it.
Yes.
So I was ready, but I wasn't expecting that to be a tutorial song. So I was like, okay, so it's an interesting thing to think about that. So now let's focus on DH Evolution. DH Evolution is running a second semester.
And also, how was your experience with your time in completing the DH Evolution course? How was your experience?
Oh, I'm still on it.
Oh, you are?
I came back. No, he Blaine is trying to, keep it not every year, but keep it constant for everybody, for all the dancers. for all the new people, because he's teaching foundation when it comes folk dance. He taught rocksteady, but then you have skanking, you have back to basics, old school, the general dance hall. This is my second semester with him. I came back, because I want to expand my vocabulary, and because you get challenged, like.
But you're also learning the history, which I think there's no other dancer in New York. The only other person I know who's doing that is Orville Expressions and Bling. That's it. And the fact that you're getting this history from him is fantastic. It really is. I don't know anybody else who's doing that.
Oh no, you go right.
I'm sorry. I'll give you a break.
No, that's okay. I don't mind. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I don't mind.
I'm sorry.
You're correct. Actually, the only person that you said it, Orville Expression and Bling.
And I think that makes him so unique.
No, that's here in New York City. I told Bling, like, I've been looking for that for a long time ago. Yeah, because I said I'm about the foundation. I'm about the history. I'm about knowing the move in detail. Because choreography, you don't catch the move in detail, and each choreographer changes a little bit. But if you get your foundation together and your knowledge together, then you're good freestyling, you're good in choreography. And he teaches history. He makes us do research as part of the homework.
Love that.
And like I said, this is my second semester, and that's why I went back, because of the knowledge, because I want to keep appreciating the dancehall culture, the Jamaican culture. So if anybody has an opportunity, you gotta stop by. Yeah.
So you liked it so much that you had to come back for the second season.
Correct.
Second semester.
Correct. Even though my economic situation wasn't good at the point, I talked to him. I'm like, brother, I want to come back, but I'm scrapping here and there.
Yeah.
And he gave me the chance.
Awesome.
So this is my second semester. Like, we getting a lot of knowledge and a lot of physical workout. Is not just you're exercising your brain, you're exercising your body at the same time.
Which is different, right? Just from taking a dance class.
Correct. That is totally different, completely.
So can I ask you, like, how many classes? Let's say, concluding this, how many classes do you like to take on an average? We're winding down now, by the way, and you've been fantastic. Thank you so much, Eric. Like, how many classes do you take a week? Just all together.
It really depends how available I am.
On average.
On average, I can take let me start doing. I can do math. I'm like, I can take from 5 to sometimes 10 classes.
That's a lot, yeah.
And it's not only dancehall. It's I go back and forth. I take like pop in, Afrobeat, hip hop. So it really depends on my ability, but I can take up to 10 classes a week.
And you've built like a little small friend community with this, you know what I mean? Like, I know when I see your stories, you're always like, hanging out with folks, and I think that's great, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, you guys experiencing this together, these are some people you're going to remember forever, and maybe even some friendships you might have for a long time. Well, I think is awesome, Now, you at one point, and you correct me if I'm wrong, you were with LAS Dancers. Are you still with them, or you just kind of went to do your own thing, or what exactly happened there? And LAS Dancers is another dance crew in New York City, definitely. Or if you don't want to speak on that, we don't have to speak on that either.
First of all, shout out to LAS Dancers.
Absolutely.
They're a dance crew here in New York City. Shout out to LAS Bigga, LAS Dancer Ken, and my friend, my lovely friend, which we are a mess, LAS Dancer Leo. I was part of LAS Dancers. It was a great opportunity, because when I joined them, the reason I joined them was because I wanted to have some different experience from a hip hop crew. Hip hop crew is different than dancehall, so I wanted to have a different experience when it comes to that. But
You have been part of a hip hop crew before?
yeah, I was part of a hip hop crew. It was called Pepsi Elite Bokyu crew,
Okay.
and we didn't perform that much, but it was more about training.
Cool. And you learned plenty there then. You learned a lot there.
Yeah, I did. So that's the best part. You have an outcome that out of each experience. I'm not with them no more, but I have integrity.
Absolutely.
I have integrity and respect for the crew and for each member. I'm not nervous. I don't want to say nothing that can be misinterpreted by a listener or by somebody else. And I don't. Yeah.
You moved on. You moved on.
Yeah, and I don't want he said she said type of feeling, but the reason I can tell you my side of the story. Like the reason I left it was because I wasn't that active. I work. Back then I was a freelancer, so I have in and out jobs. I can tell you one of the biggest jobs that I even kind of delayed me with the crew was Celebrate Brooklyn in Prospect Park. So because I have to work, and I don't see myself right now as a professional dancer, but I have to make the money. I wasn't that active, and that kind of make a difference between me and the other crew members. And in a certain way, it was holding everybody down. And I was like, you know what? Let's see what it takes us. They gave me a second chance to keep with them, but honestly, I feel like if when we make things clear with each other. That's one thing that I like when you sit down and tell me, this is how I feel about you, this is how you feel about me, this is how I feel about you. The differences were clear, and I'm like, you know what, let me ghost out and let them do their magic. I mean, and I can tell you, I've seen their videos recently, and they're fantastic. They meeting the goal that it was set a long time ago, and which is great. I applaud at it. But the only thing you see me stuttering and don't want to say nothing wrong is because things didn't end up as I expected. Meaning we didn't live in good terms.
Okay, that happens.
Yeah, and I'm the type of person that rather save his energy for better things, because karma is a bitch. What comes around goes around, and I'd rather be like, things didn't end up well, let it be, but I'm not gonna do nothing to hurt nobody.
Of course not.
Because I was raised properly, and one thing that I'm gonna say is that I don't talk behind people's back. I don't throw dirt to nobody. Even if you step on me or hurt me, I will do absolutely nothing, because that's not who I am.
That's great.
And things didn't end up well, and I'm it's sad because we see each other, but some people like to play with fire, and I'm like, well, let's see what happens when the whole building burns down.
I hear that, my bro. I hear that. Like, I've been part of a crew, and then the people who actually just introduced me really like to dance hall. Like, I was part of a crew for a number of years, and I ended up leaving myself. So I kind of know a little bit of what you're talking about, But I'm gonna wrap it up there, my bro. Is there any advice that I always ask this of everyone? But is there any advice that you give to any up and coming dancers or any dancers that that maybe look up to you and that are like really inspired by you, or maybe even dancers that are in Mexico? Because there's a few dancers in Mexico that maybe they like to be in your position. You can say it in Spanish too. I don't mind. I speak Spanish, but maybe the listeners may not speak Spanish. I don't know. Yeah. But what advice do you have for up-and-coming dancers that look up to you? Or not even up-and-coming dancers, just dancers in general that look up to you. I look up to you. So, what advice do you have?
It will be pretty much a general advice to anybody. Just, any position that you are right now, because, all dancers have a different level. just keep working hard, trying to build your foundation, your knowledge in steps, in the culture, in the history, whatever style you do. It doesn't matter if it's only dancehall, if it's only voguing, popping, whatever you style you're learning. Have a well-rounded knowledge, well-rounded history on it. Appreciate the culture. Don't appropriate the culture, because there is a difference between both of them. And if nobody is supporting you, just hit me up, because you will have people that will love you and support you. At the moment, you will not realize it, but eventually they will come up. They will come up. Pretty much reach for the stars. Don't let nobody tell you you can do nothing, because anything is possible in this world. And even though it may take more time than you expected, hang there, work hard, and enjoy yourself. At the end of the day, that's what matters. Enjoy yourself, express yourself, be yourself, and don't let nobody judge you or stop you to do what you love to do. And like I said before, always have a plan B, because you never know what turn can life gives you. You always have to be a little bit prepared for what the unexpected surprises that life can give you. So just love yourself, be yourself, that's it, and enjoy yourself. And like I said, I'm the type of person that will be cheering you up from all the way in the corner, and give you truly authentic love. And like I said, people don't know, but I do have a big admiration for Paul. This man right here is a legend.
No.
Let the record say he's a legend, because I have heard stories about you, and even though I don't show it that much, like, there you go, that this is who I am. But even if because and also for Mexicans, Mexican Americans, or Mexican, Jalisco, Mexico City, like, I know they look up to me and they love me because I'm, like, air quote, in the best position. But I will say it in English and in Spanish, like, even though, like, the location is different and the support is different, just go for it, like I said, be yourself. And I'm gonna say en español, porque, but no, a toda la raza ahí de México, México-americana, descendientes mexicanos, latinos, ahora sí a toda la raza, todos mis latinos, hispanos. Yo sé que la comunidad. Let's go, yeah. Yeah. It's brutal, yeah, I know. Ahora, a todos mis latinos, a toda mi gente, a toda mi raza, que trabajen duro, porque somos una comunidad que trabaja duro y que sale adelante, y pues que nuestros sueños se van a cumplir, aunque mucha gente no lo quiera. Y yo sé que la comunidad latina, cuando se trata de baile, es un poquito medio fuerte, en el sentido que no te va a llevar a ningún futuro, no. Algunos el apoyo de la familia. El apoyo de la familia, más que nada. Pero cuando te encuentres en un lugar increíble, cuando estés en la cima de la montaña prácticamente, ahí es cuando mucha gente se va a dar cuenta que estaban equivocados de ti. Y eso fue lo que a mí me sucedió, y por eso yo les digo, trabajen duro para alcanzar la cima de la montaña, y ya cuando estés en la cima de la montaña, disfruta tu vida al máximo, porque no hay de otra.
And Eric, if people want to get in contact with you, how can they get in contact with you?
I'm not going to give out my cell phone number.
Public stuff.
I'm just joking. When it comes to Instagram, my Instagram is at Eric, ERICK _JAEL_Fuentes. That's where you can find me. I don't use that many in my Facebook, but you can find me as Eric Fuentes on Facebook, just in case. No Twitter, no MySpace.
I'll link to the Instagram for sure. Yeah, on your.
Yeah.
I'll link to your Instagram basically.
right, thank you. I really appreciate that. And I mean, I have a lot of things to say, but time is short. We can keep going on and on.
We've already gone for 49 minutes, longer than I expected, actually. But Eric, you've been fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. And like I say to all the dancers and choreographers who come on here, like especially with you, like you're like the first like Mexican-born dancer I've ever had on here. You know, someone's gonna hear this and they're gonna be inspired by you and like and the beautiful things you said. And you know, they won't feel despair. I don't think that they'll feel down. Like they'll look to you and be like, "There's somebody doing it, and I can do that." You know what I'm saying?
All right, well, that's the episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, if you're watching this on YouTube, there is also a playlist of like dancer interviews that you can go ahead and dig a little deeper into. Dancers such as, like I said, more in kind of the New York City dance hall scene, but there's Pyrotech and Ruli, there's King Kayak, there's Corey Genius, and definitely check those out. And they definitely drop little nuggets of wisdom if you ever want to make the jump from dancer, like in parties and in streets and in videos, to actually being a choreographer. They give great tips on that. So, like I said, you'll find that on the playlist that includes this video if you're watching this on YouTube. And if not, you can find any and all of my content at improveandhavefun.com. Please support this channel by any or all of the ways I describe in the description for this video, whether it be buying something on TeePublic or doing your eBay and Amazon shopping through the links provided in this video. But that's it, and I look forward to chatting with you again in an upcoming video. Peace.